But thank goodness for a little angel known as Jen on this episode, because when I tell you Jen was representing for the OG fans on this episode. Hey everyone, welcome back to Red Lipstick Reality TV. If you're new here, hey, welcome to my channel. I talk about reality TV, and right now we're loving Sister Wives. So if you want to be part of the conversation, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, let everybody know that you love my video, and share it. Because if you know the people that love to talk about Sister Wives like we do, some of those OG folks, hey, this is a great place for you. For my Red Lipstick Club, hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. So I'm going to pump out a couple videos because I like to catch up before Sunday. Sunday is the second part of the look back. And so you know they're doing a talk back. The talk back is looking at the first episode of season 18 and the finale of season 18. And the look back that they're doing is looking at past clips of the show, talking about how their family came together and all the changes that have happened over the years. So I'm going to do now part 2 of the talk back. I have been able to kind of figure out a way to watch it a little bit sooner. I do have cable, thank goodness. And I'm hoping to maybe record for my members my live reaction to the look back part 2. So I think I can log into TLC Go and maybe record from there. So that's my goal. We'll see if it works. I feel like TLC is sabotaging the YouTubers out here from us doing what we want to do, because they really gave us no direction on how we should handle this. If we've been streaming from HBO Max or Discovery Plus, thank goodness I actually have cable and I'm able to figure it out and watch it on TLC and TLC Go. So I was able to see the talk back part 2, y'all. So I'm going to talk about it. That just happened. I believe it aired yesterday. I'm assuming it did. So let's talk about it. But this is basically a conclusion to the talkback part 2. Tell me guys in the comments how you've been feeling about these talkbacks. Obviously, they didn't ask the fans if they had any specific questions, right? They basically just went through the internet and grabbed random posts that people have been making over 18 seasons regarding Sister Wives and everybody from Sister Wives. So we didn't really get a chance to be specific with the questions that we have. But thank goodness for a little angel known as Jen on this episode, because when I tell you Jen was representing for the OG fans on this episode, she was calling out things that all of us have been yelling at our TV for years now, and definitely yelled at our TV for this past season of season 18. So we're definitely going to talk about our angel baby Jen. And we're also going to talk about everything that happened, you guys, on this talk back. So without further ado, the lipstick I'm wearing, people have been asking about my lipsticks. I'm pretty sure someone's asking about this one, but it is the Maybelline, I think it's called like a matte ink or something. I'll make sure to tag it below. Be careful with these lipsticks. They're amazing. But when they call them like tattoo ink, whatever they call them, when I tell you guys this lipstick will stay on for 17,000 days, and there has literally been a time where I wore it and I had to actually use actual alcohol to get the lipstick off. Just be prepared. Do one coat and leave it. Do not keep applying, because when I tell you it will be next to impossible for you to get this stuff off easily, I'm not joking. This is literally an all-day wear. Maybelline knew what they was doing when they made it. So that's what I'm wearing. So you guys, segment 1 of the talkback part 2. What I think is interesting about this is that we're actually watching the finale. We're finally seeing Cody being called to task when it comes to Mary. He has been avoiding saying on national television that he is leaving Mary, that he has no interest in having a marriage with Mary. And basically Mary's saying, sweetie, I put in 18 seasons. You're not about to play me. And if you want this marriage to end, you're the one that's going to have to go on national television and say you want this marriage to end. And I am here for that, because that's exactly what he should do. He should not be able to dodge a bullet when it comes to Mary and ending that marriage, because we all know Mary does not want to end it. He wanted to end this. So they're basically talking about the covenant of marriage. And Robin asks Cody, did you break your covenant? And obviously Cody's going to say no, which I think is such an obvious answer. And it's funny when Robin does this, she's very manipulative because she'll ask him questions that she full well knows what his answer is going to be. And it's basically trying to get him to vocalize a point that she's trying to make rather than her making the point. She's trying to get Cody to vocalize this point. And when she asks him about the covenant, and she knows that there's no way he's going to take responsibility for breaking his covenant when it comes to Mary. So of course he's going to say, no, I didn't break it. What's he going to tell you? Yeah, he did. What does he take accountability for? So why would he openly admit that he broke his covenant with Mary? Now, I don't know about y'all. I am not in polygamy. Okay. I'm not going to pretend I know everything about polygamy or their religion, but even just looking at marriage in the monogamy aspect of it, there isn't just one vow in your marriage vows. It's supposed to be for better or for worse, for richer or for poor. You're supposed to honor, cherish, love, obey. There's lots of pieces and components that go into the marriage vows, which is, I'm sure, similar to this covenant. And I'm almost guaranteeing the emotional abandonment of your wife is probably a large part of that covenant. And for him to act as if he did not break that covenant with Mary. Sorry, you guys, I hit my camera. For him to act like he didn't break that covenant with Mary prior to the catfish situation would be a complete lie, because he had all but abandoned their marriage years prior to, which is what made Mary vulnerable to being catfished. But this doesn't absolve Mary of responsibility of having an emotional affair, because we all knew that's what she was doing. And I wish she would just go ahead and take some accountability for that. And I don't know why she keeps lying about that. Like, stop lying, Mary. Like, boo-boo, we know you had an emotional affair and it's okay. But let's stop pretending that didn't happen. But nonetheless, Cody, you broke the covenant. You emotionally abandoned your wife way before she had this emotional affair. So let's stop pretending that you have been this great husband or even a subpar husband to her. You haven't not even been a husband to her. You've basically been non-existent. Also with Cody, I thought it was interesting that Cody did not deny the fact that he abandoned his wives. Like, he won't completely deny it, but he won't own it either. So you take what you will from that. I'm looking at my notes, you guys, so pardon me, I have to look down because I had to take notes for this. So Cody is saying Mary's addicted to being a victim. I feel like that is completely laughable, y'all. He is the consummate victim. He's married to a consummate victim. Both of those people live in a constant state of victimhood. And it doesn't mean that maybe Mary doesn't like to kind of play into that victim role, but to act as if Cody himself is not somebody that constantly lives in victimhood. This entire last 3 seasons specifically, every single thing that's happened, he has been the victim of, whether it's trash talking, his wife's abandoning him, his wife's turning his kids against him. He is the victim in every scenario. And so is Robin. Her kids weren't safe. They didn't treat her kids right. They're making her the one to blame. So to act as if this honestly just isn't a family of people that have quite a few victims in it, and to act like Cody isn't the ringleader of the victims is comical to me. Look in a mirror, buddy. Like, literally pick up a mirror. Robin, Cody, pick up a mirror. The two of you are the ultimate victims in everything. For everything. And you'll notice later, we'll point out something that Robin says when it comes to how she's going to stand before God because she's done nothing wrong. It's just funny to me that any human being in life could say out loud that they feel they have never done anything wrong to anybody ever in their lives, and they have nothing to apologize about, to atone for. I just think that's real suspicious. We'll talk about that later. One of the things that stood out for me, so I highlighted some of the questions that were asked and the answers to that. And they asked if one of the fans asked if bringing on a sister wife 20 years later was a bad decision. And my response to that is, yeah, it's a terrible decision. And even if Robin let's just say Robin was a good fit, right? When you look at the broader picture, it's somebody that, you know, grew up in the religion, really said, in that moment says they really want sister wives. And then there were some moments where it was pretty much a clear demonstration that Robin was bought in, right? We all know also that was kind of fool's gold when it came to Robin. But when you have an established family like that, that's been together for that long, it's completely different from a man that's been married for 20 years and then gets divorced and then remarries. Because that woman, unless they have children, the connection to that person is not the same. And there's not also still a romantic relationship with an ex. But when you're still married to women for 15, 20 years, and then you bring in a new woman, obviously that new person has no baggage connected to them. So it's like a fresh, brand new relationship. So this man is coming out of relationships that he's had to work extremely hard at, that have been really stressful and exhausting because they've been in plural marriage this whole time. And then he meets Robin, who's all shiny and new to him, that doesn't have the baggage of a plural marriage because she was in a monogamous marriage prior to this. And I think they would have been better suited to have married somebody that had already been in polygamy, because I think they too would have had the baggage of polygamy with them, not somebody that came from monogamy where they had really no idea what it felt like to be a woman that was either brought into a marriage, or a woman that had somebody brought into their marriage. So I feel like that, and when Janelle and everybody says that they thought Robin was a good fit, I'm questioning all of their judgment in that moment, because I just don't see how you would think bringing somebody in 20 years down the line into something that you're saying is a well-oiled machine would make sense. Not to mention financially, you guys were consistently struggling financially. You had a lot of children. It was not easy to afford these kids. That's why Christine was working at night and Aspen was having to tuck the kids in, because you guys needed extra financial resources. So I don't feel like any of the sister wives are being honest in this point, which I don't think you really wanted a new wife. I think you saw an opportunity for a television show, and they basically said, hey, if you bring in a new wife, I'll be able to sell this more. I'll be able to sell a show as opposed to just selling maybe a 2-hour special. And you guys were in financial dire straits. I know y'all were. And you said, okay, well, she'll work. This person will work. And Mary's giving her the sign of approval. So y'all basically trusted that fact. And unfortunately, you made a bad decision. So now they're fast forwarding, you guys. They're showing Christine and Janelle when they went to go see Christine's brother. And Cody, he's so miserable. You guys. Like, he cannot stand to see, number one, see Christine and Janelle happy without him. But he really can't stand to see them happy together. And he just, it's so funny to me is that he keeps bringing up how, you know, as the relationship was growing through the years, they really didn't get along. They had issues with each other. Well, that's because they were fighting over the attention of one husband. And plural marriage got in the way of why these two women couldn't always see eye to eye. And it's interesting to me when they were able to remove the component of you, Cody, who was also actively working to drive wedges in between these women because you're a narcissist and you need all the attention for yourself. And you're basically making these people fight for your attention and your time, that they were able to see the greatest parts of each other and be able to connect that way. And they were able to focus in on how each one contributed to the success of the child rearing of all of their kids. Janelle financially was a great provider, and Christine was able to provide the nurturing at home. They were basically a married couple this whole time and didn't realize the power of that until they left you and realized that actually they didn't need you. They were fine on their own. So I just thought that was funny how miserable he looked watching them connect with each other. And then I do like this part where Mary supports Janelle and Christine's relationship and likes that they are still connected, even though she's been left out of this sister wife connection. I just love that. It does really show growth in Mary, because she didn't have to say that. She could just say, okay, like she could be looking stone-faced and evil like Cody and Robin were. But in fact, instead of her being envious of the relationship that Christine and Janelle have to the point where she has negative things to say or is expressing, you know, bitterness, in fact, she has positive things to say. And she says, hey, I'm just glad that they still have a connection. Like, it doesn't mean, it basically shows that this wasn't all in vain. All the sacrifice that we made to be together as a family was not in vain. And these two, at least, were able to salvage their relationship, and look at them, they're thriving. So I did love that about Mary and how she did that. And Cody dismissing the relationship that Christine and Janelle have is just a complete joke. And it really just boils down to the fact that he's bitter and angry that he's left out. He just has FOMO. And his ego just cannot handle the FOMO. One of the questions that came up was, did growing up in a doomsday culture scare you? And I loved how, you know, Christine spoke to this. There are lots of cults out here that have that like doomsday approach to life. I mean, who wouldn't that scare when you're constantly being told that the world's going to end, and like any move you make could contribute to the demise of the world. And if you're not prepared or ready, you're going to go to hell. Like, who wouldn't be scared of that? And could you imagine being a child being told that? I've always kind of been, I wouldn't say that atheism really resonates with me, because I do feel like I'm very spiritual, and I personally believe that there's a God and everything. But growing up going to church, a lot of what they were saying, I just didn't buy into or believe. So it's really hard for me as a kid to be forced to go to church when I felt that most of this stuff coming out of their mouths just didn't feel rooted in fact for me. But I've always had been very spiritual personally, and always just thought that there was like, you know, an all being. But these man-made words that you're telling me, I just don't believe that what you're saying came from the God. I just don't. So for me, if I would have been in one of these like doomsday cults, I'm wondering how I would have survived in that type of situation, knowing that I just don't buy it. And I find it interesting that even her dad was saying like, yeah, this is a joke. Go to college and get a degree. It's like, why are you in this religion then if you really think most of it is a crock? Like, why are you even in this? It just kind of shows you like the power of like growing up in a cult mindset, where you almost, it's just like you don't even have a choice. You just go along with it because it's all you know. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting how Christine spoke to that. I want to talk about the next portion that came up was Janelle speaking to the fact that her children and Christine's children, both of them, have come to her at different times and said that they really missed Robin's children. And I just find it interesting that in this moment, Robin had nothing to say to that. And I don't know if this was editing, but she just stared stone-faced watching the screen as Janelle was saying this. And for somebody that has been consistently saying that, oh, they hate my kids, they hate me, this wasn't a safe space for my children, I just find it interesting that when it's been made clear as day that these other brown kids actually want relationships with their siblings from Robin, I find it funny that Robin had no acknowledgement of that and Cody had no acknowledgement of that. And I'm honestly kind of a little irritated that they were able to get away with that. Because when you make big accusations the way Robin has, where she's basically been saying, somebody told me that everybody hates me, this was not a safe space, they bullied my kids, they never treated my kids right. She's made a lot of big, bold accusations on national television regarding the other brown children that to me is almost character assassination. And for that to come up with Janelle and for her to not acknowledge that she heard that and that she wants to make sure that information is relayed to her children, I just find that interesting. And that's why I just don't buy anything that Robin is selling when it comes to this whole victimhood that she's placed herself and her children in now for over a decade. I think if she really, like what I was saying is like, I think if she acknowledges that what they're saying, that it won't feed her narrative, that everybody hates her kids. I just think it won't fit the narrative that she's trying to paint for Cody so she can be a damsel in distress for the rest of her life. All right, y'all, moving on to segment 2 of this episode. So somebody asked, basically, not ask, but they tell Cody and Robin, like, hey, you know, you guys seem happy together. Seems like you've been like this for a long time. Why don't you guys just go ahead and own that and just love each other and be honest about it? And Cody explodes and basically he's like attacking this fan and saying they're trash talking and they watch too much tabloids. And she has this weird interaction with Robin where she's like trying to grab his face, and it's really odd to me. I don't know what that is with them, but Robin's like, he didn't say anything bad. He basically is telling us, hey, if you guys are clearly in love, why don't you just own that? But in owning that, you don't have to downplay the other wives. You don't have to downplay the relationships you had with the other wives just to say that the love you currently have now just is a better fit for you. I don't know why that's so difficult for Kody to delineate. I don't know why he has to act as if he never loved anybody else in order for the love that he has with Robin to have validity. And I don't know, and that's almost starting to feel like, is it really love when it has to be this? Like, I don't understand why he has to talk bad about everybody else to showcase that he's in love with Robin. It's very confusing to me. I don't understand that. I don't understand why that has to be. And then he says that we've only seen 20 hours of his life. And I'm thinking to myself, Kody, you've had 18 seasons of this show. I mean, even if I'd only watched an hour of your life each season, that's still 18 hours. I'm like, I think I've seen more of your life than I've seen of people that I work a job with on my team Monday through Friday, 40 plus hours a week that I've been working with for years. I know more about Kody Brown's life than them. I know more about Kody Brown's life than a lot of my relatives. So for him to kind of just dismiss these fans that have been watching since day one, I'm like, Kody, we've literally watched Truly since before she was born. We've literally watched a child of yours, multiple children of yours, since before they were born. We have seen your children grow up before our eyes. Does that mean that we know every single thing about you? No, it's a television show. But to dismiss how much of your life has been on TV is crazy to me. And to dismiss it to 20 hours, come on, dude. Like, stop. Also, too, why is he so mad, y'all, about these divorces? Like, if you didn't love any of these wives, it literally is nothing but his ego. If you didn't love these women, why are you so upset about divorces? And then when he tries to say, well, it's because my kids don't talk to me, those relationships can be fixed. Your kids are not held hostage by this divorce. Most of your kids were adults when you got divorced. They were already out of the house. You were having issues with these women prior to even divorcing them. And you're having issues with a lot of these kids prior to your wives leaving you. You were already having issues with multiple children. So to blame the divorce on all of this bad blood you have with your kids seems kind of asinine to me. I don't understand why he takes no responsibility, no accountability for that. I didn't like how they were kind of skipping over the real financial connections with Coyote Pass. And I'm thinking to myself, don't skip over the finances connected to Coyote Pass. I'm sorry, but as a fan base, that's numero uno on, I would say 9.9 out of 10 9.9 out of 10 Sister Wife fans. We want to know what is going on with the money. We want to break down. We want to know what's happening with the money that's supposed to go to Janelle, Mary, what's happening with the finances. Because the finances are suspicious and we want to know. We want to know where's the money. Like, I feel like if you were to give every fan one question, I guarantee you 70+% of the questions asked will be surrounding money and the money surrounding Coyote Pass. So why are we kind of dancing around that? Mary's saying that she wasn't a doormat for Kody. Sweetie, you were definitely that. You were. And it's sad, and I know it probably sucks. I wouldn't want to admit that either on national television, but it's a reality. You're putting money into this family pot for years for this man to give you 2 acres that you still had to pay for on top of what you were already giving. Why does Robin have a house? Why does Robin have a property and then also have 4+ acres on Coyote Pass? Is the math mathing for y'all? Because I never heard them say that Mary has a stake in the house that Robin has. So you're telling me Robin gets a whole home and then also Robin gets 4 acres on Coyote Pass? Make it make sense, because she's not contributing as much as everybody else is. The other women are the ones with the other streams of income coming in. Robin doesn't have any other streams of income. She literally has a show, and My Sister Wife's Closet is a joke. So I'm very confused by that. Watching this portion with Robin and Kody and how Robin consistently feeds Cody's fragile ego is very scary to me. And I don't know if it's like battered woman syndrome or what is going on with her, but she feeds this man's very fragile ego all day long. That has to be exhausting. I'm exhausted for her. I'm exhausted for her watching her have to feed this man's ego. And also I'm saying like for Robin, like you're connected to Cody because you're legally married to him. So basically what Cody has, you will get. So for her to act like she's not going to get more because she's legally married, I'm like, the way the laws work here in Arizona, if you get divorced and you guys didn't have a prenup, guess what? You're entitled to half of everything he has. And if he dies, it's the same thing. Unless he has a will that's saying otherwise. And I highly doubt he does. So I just feel like they consistently gloss over the fact that Robin is legally married to Cody. It's like, Robin, you're legally married, which means boo-boo. You have access to his money. Everything he's got, half of it's yours. This is crazy to me. This is also a part where they say like Mary gets less and Mary just fumbles around on this. I'm just like, Mary, grow up here, girl. You don't deserve less. Say it out loud. Stop dancing around the issue. Why does Cody get to make this decision? That's what tells me right then and there that like, I'm curious as to how he got so much decision-making power when for the longest time, Janelle was the one running the finances. And I'm wondering when they signed that deal for TLC, did you start to see a shift in how the finances were managed? Because I do believe if this entire time Janelle was still the one managing the money, that we wouldn't be in the situation we're in now. But I think at some point she had to or was forced to relinquish that to Cody. And that's why we're in the dire financial situation we are now. Because he was using that money, y'all, for everything. I mean, he was doing these stupid businesses he was starting that nobody could tell you what he was doing or why he was doing it. And he was just losing money. And then he's investing in these stupid artwork and jewelry and stuff that has like minimal to no resale value, trying to hide assets. I feel like they were trying to duck and dodge taxes at some point because he wasn't being financially responsible. And I think when Janelle was managing the money, they were a lot more responsible with the money, especially when it came to the taxes, because she knew what she was doing with that and he doesn't know what he's doing. So he's making really poor decisions that was going to financially cost them, which was why he started doing stupid things like investing in random print pieces and jewelry to hide money and assets. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Do you guys think that Cody was doing that to kind of hide assets because he was fumbling with the bag? He was fumbling with the family bag, trying to like turn a quarter into $15, and this is why they're in the financial straits that they're in now. Let me know in the comments below. All right, y'all. When Cody basically is calling Christine like a shit sister wife and saying that she was never a good sister wife, and Robin rolling her eyes around that, I'm just like, Robin, he literally has been saying this to these wives for forever. And any time that he's talked about it, it's been in connection to you. He really hasn't cared how they treated each other as the OG3. He's really only cared since you came to the family how they treated you. And I just wish both of you guys would be honest about that. Just stop. You're fooling nobody. I do think this is interesting how Janelle calls out her frustration with Christine, and how Christine is basically saying, I want Janelle to hear my story when it comes to Cody so that she'll be okay with leaving him and stuff. And this just shows you that they have a real friendship, because it's like Christine, not Christine, but at least it's like Janelle understands that even if she has an issue with what Christine is saying and she voices that concern and that issue and says she doesn't like something, that Christine is not going to abandon her because she has a feeling about something. That they'll talk about it at some point, that they'll hash it out as sister wives, and they'll be able to grow from it and move on. They don't have fragile egos like Cody and Robin where they'll hold those things over your head for the rest of your lives because you had a disagreement with them or didn't like something they said or did something they didn't like. You know, Cody and Robin are holding the grudge till the end of time. All right, y'all, moving on. Segment 3. So segment 3, baby, this is where Jen, excuse me, this is where Jen, Mary's bestie, casually joins to watch it. The greatest thing to happen to sister wives is Jen joining this talkback. Like, I did not know how much we needed Jen until she joined this, and the show completely flipped for me. It was so much better when Jen joined, because Jen literally was calling out so many things that us as Sister Wives fans have been calling out and yelling at our TV at for over a decade now. And I was totally here for it. We're going to talk about all the good things that Jen brought up, because I have about 15 Jens listed in my segment comments, okay? Jen getting a little clap when Mary says she probably wasn't going to renew her lease. Yes, we all felt that same way as well, because when she said that she was going to renew the lease, all of us were looking at Mary like she was crazy. We're like, Mary, this man does not care. You told him you were moving your business. He had no response. He did not care. Why are you holding on and actually spending money to lease a place here for a man that is never going to see you? And also for a sister wife that has made no effort to see you or connect with you either. Who are you here for? Leon doesn't live here. So who are you here for? Why are you renting a property? That doesn't make any sense to me. So I was clapping right along with Jen. I love that Jen calls out Robin for being upset. And then she also confirms what we all knew in this moment, that Robin has made no effort to really have a sister-wife relationship or any type of relationship with Mary. And Mary has been consistently trying, and Robin has made up every excuse in the book for why they have not got together, because she has no desire to be around Mary. It's all just been for show, because she knows if she loses Mary, the storyline is done. We no longer need you and Cody. You've dragged her along for years, because at least then you could say you're a polygamist, but at the end of the day, you're not, and you've been living monogamy now for years. So thanks, Jen, for calling that out. Christine had the same face, y'all, that we had when the man kept bringing up the lot during their conversation. Like, no one cares about the lot, Cody, when I'm talking about the complete demise and breakdown of our marriage. It's just so thoughtless and careless. And I have had conversations with a man where this man is talking about the game on TV while we're having the most intimate, in-depth conversation that is significantly impacting my life and my family and like how I'm existing in the world. And you're talking about the catch on the TV while we're having this conversation. It's like you're oblivious. You're completely oblivious, and you really don't care. And it's sad. But I just thought that was, I love that Christine was like, what is happening here, bro? Like, read the room. Nobody cares about the properties right now. Jen says, I'm sorry. So what he says doesn't matter. I'm just like loving Jen in this segment, because it's literally like she's us watching this, but she's actually there with them, saying the exact same things that most of us are saying when we've been watching this television show. Cody taking no accountability for how he contributed to that marriage breaking down, and Robin sitting there coddling him through this situation, like rubbing his leg, not being honest with him about what really took place in that marriage is just so incredibly detrimental to me. It's like that. I think that's why he is the way he is now, because if you're spending most of your time with somebody that's basically yes manning you or coddling you, you know, not making you take any level of accountability for anything, it's like no wonder Cody's gotten worse. Like, he was always a narcissist, but when you have somebody feeding your ego as a narcissist, that makes it worse. And I think that's why he's gotten so bad. Ugh. All right, y'all, segment 4. So segment 4, Jen calls out Robin talking over Mary, which all of us are saying the same thing. And everyone says that this man has not managed anything. That he's basically ignored Mary. He has not managed the relationship. He just ignored her. And Janelle, you know, I think Janelle as well has struggled with calling Cody out for things. And I don't even, I've always said, like, you know, everyone gives Janelle a pass, but I just always didn't understand how Janelle speaks about Cody. And I have called it out in many of my videos, how I have issues with Janelle when it comes to, she really didn't care about how he was treating his wives until it started to impact her and impact her children. And even then, it wasn't even that it impacted her kids. It had to impact her, because she was letting him basically mistreat her kids for years. And she just said, oh, well, that's okay. They're okay with just getting a little. And then when it started to finally become a situation where even a little wasn't enough for her, now all of a sudden the things are moving. And you know, she's mad at Christine for kind of calling it out to say, hey, I need you to hear this. But I don't think Janelle was as quick to move on as she tries to act like she was. We all saw her when she was with Cody at Salsa Brava. And she was giggling and kiki and like blushing through that conversation. And it was hard for her to even say some of the basic things like, you haven't seen Savannah or like in weeks now. And she had no follow-up to that. She just kind of left it in the air and let him get away with that. So for her to act like she's just been Miss, oh, I'm doing it all from, sisters are doing it for themselves. And look at me, Miss Independent Woman. That's not really that true, Janelle. I'm sorry, sweetie, but you haven't been as easy breezy, beautiful cover girl when it comes to leaving Cody as you try to portray yourself to be now. Looking back on it, I think you thought you were, but you were not. You were not. Christine saying, oh my God, when Robin starts crying and leaving and Jen giggling, like they are us as the audience watching right now, because those are two of the main reactions I know a lot of us had during that segment. And then they pop up another one of the questions where it says, well, Cody has another sister wife. And basically Janelle says like he has some type of, she's so shady for this, y'all. She's like, well, he has some sort of soulmate relationship now, like one of those later in life relationships. And I'm like, she's so shady. She's so shady for that comment. Cause I'm like, yeah, we're basically saying Cody had a midlife crisis and got a younger wife that was shiny and new and hadn't had the stain of polygamy and the stress that goes with that on her. So yeah, he definitely fell in love with that person. Even Christine says, like, it wasn't the catfish that ended that marriage. Like, he had ended the marriage with Robin, or with Mary before then. And, like, they had, like, once-a-year connections. And that's, like, that's not a marriage. And so Cody just keeps blaming everything on the catfish when it comes to Mary. I'm like, it's not the catfish. The catfish was so secondary. And even after that, you said, hey, we can try to make it work. But then you had no desire to even invest the time in her to even attempt to make it work. So you just kept dragging her along because you wanted her money. And it was your ego. So stop. You guys, I laugh so hard when Christine is seeing Robin come back to the table when they're having the conversation Mary and Cody are. And Christine goes, why is she back? Why is she coming back? Like, why didn't she just go home? Oh my God. Like, all of us were saying this. We're just like, why is she here? Why is she here for this? Like, and I think now, looking back, I think it's honestly because Mary wanted him to have to say in front of Robin, so Robin couldn't keep manipulating her. She wanted him to say in front of her and everybody, I no longer want to be married to Mary. Now there's no confusion. We've all been sitting here. We're all together. You heard it from the man's mouth. He does not want to be married to me. The moment where Cody says the act is easy. And Jen basically highlights his narcissism here, which we're like, yeah, we see it. It's like now because he found a different love with Robin, it was like all an act, but I think it really actually was an act. I think he's a narcissist and I think he was playing a role. I don't think it was as difficult for him at the beginning, but I think because he's so selfish as time went on, he no longer wanted to keep it up. At some point, the jig is up, as they say. There's only so much love bombing you can do. But when you are at the point where you're like, I don't want to keep this up anymore. And not to say that he didn't maybe care about these women, but I don't think he honestly is capable of loving anybody. I don't even think he loves Robin, honestly. I just think it's a status symbol for him. And I think it makes him feel powerful. And I think that's about it. But I just don't really think he's capable of anything connected to real love because he lacks empathy. So without empathy, I just don't think you can actually love somebody. I think just he was like Jen brings up the love letters that he was giving Mary. And I'm like, well, that was really just love bombing. I mean, that's what he was doing. He was just love bombing her to death. And it's sad. I think the problem is that for a lot of us, especially women, because as you know, like the percentages of narcissism are significantly higher in men than they are with women. I think it's really hard for, women you know, to be a narcissist, only because we typically have more empathy. So when you meet a female narcissist, run, because those are the scariest of all that they've dodged, like the natural inkling to be empathetic as a woman. So if they are a narcissist out of that, that's very scary to me. But I think for men, you know, when it comes to narcissism and just like being able to kind of put on an act to kind of get what you want, you know, as Janelle said, everybody makes some level of sacrifice, but the sacrifice for Janelle isn't necessarily an act for them to make a sacrifice. For them, it's saying, okay, you know, I'll be okay with you spending time with another woman when in fact I'm not really okay with it. But I'm not gonna fake that I love you. If I say I love you, it's because I love you. But I might tell a little fib and tell you I'm okay with you going over that woman's house when I'm not. Not the same as telling a woman that you love them and want to be with them and then coming back 20 years later and saying it was all a lie. And someone says like there was something wrong. He goes, there's something wrong upstairs. I said, no, it's narcissism. It is something wrong. It's narcissism. It can be diagnosed. You should see somebody about that, Cody. You should get it diagnosed so you can start doing the work to do something about it. So you can at least be palatable, because right now you're not. It's just, it's so bad. You're so unaware. It's very scary. It's very scary. Jen calls out what we all been saying. He told Robin about the marriages, and that's why they made that covenant. And I have said that many times. Many other people have said the same thing, where like the reason why they made this covenant with each other is because he's basically telling Robin from the get-go that he really wasn't in love with the other women. And Robin's thinking, baby, don't keep me in a relationship if you're not in love with me and have me looking stupid like you have these other women looking. And the fact that it just like totally just dawned on Mary in that moment that he would do something like that. And I'm like, girl, how are you just recognizing this? Like, that's immediately what I thought when I heard what he said. That was my immediate thought. It wasn't even a second thought about it. I said, oh my God, they're basically openly admitting that they were talking about the other marriages prior to them getting married. And they made this basic pact with each other that he would not drag them along or string her along the way he strung his other wives along. That, I don't know why that seems so difficult for Mary to understand, but it seemed pretty clear as day to me. Moving on, y'all. So, segment 5, Jen, says this is probably the most action that Mary's got in years from him when Mary gives him a hug at the end. And I'm like, yeah, she's definitely not lying about that. And Cody's saying that he hopes that Mary finds peace because he will. It's like, this dude is a joke. Like, who is he talking to? And I know he can hear himself because he's watching it back, but notice he has no reaction. He really has no emotional reaction other than anger. And no reaction to himself, like no real self-reflection. It's terrifying. He's terrifying to watch, y'all. Oh, Jen makes the face that we all made too, seeing Cody in a Speedo when they're all in like what they're calling the lake or pond. And he's like jumping around in the water and stuff when they're like back in the day just going to Coyote Pass. And just like Jen said, I think a lot of people thought that this was going to be a new beginning for them. They'd have a fresh start. You know, they're moving to Coyote Pass. And it turns out it was just a ploy for Cody to get them all to sell their properties so he could have control over all their money. Actually, it had nothing to do with them having a new start because he had no desire or no plan to have a new start with any of them. Isn't that funny? Janelle calls out how Cody dropped the ball on the marriages. I mean, that's pretty evident. I mean, we all pretty much saw that. Pretty clear that he did that. I think Christine is hilarious in this segment, you guys, because she basically says when you monopolize the man and you don't hold him accountable, then the other wives, basically, you become the enemy as another wife. Like, that's going to be a pretty natural occurrence. If you're not aiding in the health and growth of my marriage, why would I want to be a friend of yours? Why would I want to be connected to you? If you're doing everything you can to basically sabotage my marriage and also the relationship that he has with my children, why would I be screaming from the chandeliers that I wanted to be besties with you? Why would I be going on my way to do that? I don't think anybody would. And the responsibility is on Cody for sure. Like throughout this whole situation, it's his marriages. It's definitely on him for sure. But Robin didn't help because she ultimately just never wanted to hold him accountable for anything. And if you're with a wife, you know, I always, my dad always would tell me this, like, that's one of your responsibilities as a spouse is to hold your spouse accountable and to call them out when they need to be called out on, because at the end of the day, your spouse should be able to trust you, right? Like they should be able to trust you that you'd have their best interest at heart, that you would call them out when they needed to be called out on, and you would support them as well when they needed to be supported. But Robin would do the support thing, but she just had a real struggle, manipulative struggle, with actually calling him out on stuff throughout this marriage. And like you'll see him call things out now, but it's too late now. It doesn't matter. It's pointless. Why didn't you call him out before when he was like literally watching his marriages dissolve right in front of his eyes? Like, come on. So anyway, y'all, that is the talk back part 2. Your girl got it done. I'm going to definitely make sure I take some time. Hopefully I'll be able to log in or something on Sunday. It's New Year's Eve, so I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm going to see what I can do so I can watch the look back part 2, so I can do those 2 videos for you guys next week, because I already watched part 1. I'll make a video for that, and then I want to watch part 2. But then we get to see Robin have this like hyperventilating breakdown when she watches the family like commitment ceremony, which is so comical to me. I'm like, girl, the drama. Either way, y'all, hey, have a happy new year. Thank you so much, you guys, for getting me jump started. This is my first year actually committing to YouTube. You've got me now to almost 3,000 subscribers. I think we're about 400 something off of that. And I just want to thank you so much for your support. There's so many of you guys that are just constantly in the comments, liking the video, sharing the video, and engaging with me and jumping on lives with me. And just know that I love seeing each and every one of you. I appreciate every single subscriber that I have, and those that are not subscribed that still come and watch it. Maybe now you'll hit subscribe button. We'll see. But just thanks for getting me here. I have literally been making videos since like, I don't know, I started doing this in what, late September? And now we're here. And I feel like I've been doing this a million years, and I have not. So shout out to all the YouTubers that have been doing this gig for a lot of years. Like, y'all are the real MVPs. This is no joke, getting these videos out in time and keeping up with everything. But I'm still loving it and enjoying it, and just here for the ride. I'm going to continue to build upon this, add more shows, especially Seeking Sister Wives. Gotta do it. But yeah, thank you guys. Have a happy new year. I will see you in 2024. Until next time, like, subscribe, share. Bye.